Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I am Ananya Banerjee from Swami Vivekananda Institute of Modern Science. In this video, I will be talking about genomic library. So what comes into your mind when we talk about a genomic DNA library? A library means a collection of books, so genomic DNA library means a collection of genomic DNA. Now, why do we need to construct DNA libraries? If we take human as an example, there are approximately 25,000 genes among 3 billion base pairs of DNA in human genome. So, in order to study any one of these genes, it is necessary to isolate the specific gene from all of the other genes. One of these isolation methods involves the construction of DNA library. And the process by which a gene is identified and copied is known as cloning. So the term DNA library, which is also known as genomic library or gene bank, is referred to a population of organisms, each of which carries a DNA molecule inserted into a cloning vector. Or it can also be defined as a collection of DNA fragments that have been cloned into vectors so that researchers can identify and isolate the DNA fragments of interest for their further study. Thus, a DNA library is constructed for the ease of purification, storage, and analysis of genome of an organism. Now, there are two types of DNA library. One is genomic library, which is made of genomic DNA, and another is cDNA library or complementary DNA library, which is made of cDNA produced from mRNA by reverse transcription. Let's now get a detailed idea about genomic library. A genomic library is a collection of DNA fragments that contain the entire genome of the individual from which the DNA was derived. It is created using molecular cloning. These libraries are constructed by using clones of bacteria or yeast that contain vectors into which fragments of partially digested DNA have been inserted. In order to construct genomic library, we need to know the size of the library. The number of clones required to construct a complete library can be calculated from the size of the genome and the average size of overlapping fragments cut by restriction enzymes. The library should contain many times more clones than the calculated value. The formula which is used to calculate the number of recombinants is N is equal to ln 1 minus capital P divided by ln 1 minus small f, where N is the number of clones required or the total number of independent recombinant, capital P is the desired probability or efficiency, small f is the fraction of genome in one insert, which can also be represented as small f is equal to I by G, where I is the insert size and G is the genome size. Thus, if we increase the insert size, fewer clones will be needed to represent a genome. The proportion of the insert size versus the genome size represents the proportion of the respective genome in a single clone. So the equation now can be given as N is equal to ln 1 minus capital P divided by ln 1 minus I by G. Now let us see the vectors which can be used to construct genomic DNA library. There are several vectors which can be used in order to construct DNA libraries. In this table, there are examples of several vectors and the approximate maximum length of DNA that can be cloned into different vectors. For example, in case of plasmid, the approximate maximum length of DNA that can be cloned is 20 kilobase pair. For lambda fudge, it's 25 kilobase pair. For cosmid, it's 45 kilobase pair. For P1 fudge, it's 100 kilobase pair. For bacterial artificial chromosome, it's 300 kilobase pair. And for yeast artificial chromosome, it's 1000 kilobase pair. So depending upon the size of the genome, the vector of prokaryotic or eukaryotic can be selected. Now, in order to construct the genomic library, these are the steps required. First, DNA of interest is isolated from the cell. It will be digested into small fragments with restriction endonuclease enzyme. The vector DNA will then be selected depending on the size of the genome. It will be treated with the same restriction enzyme and then DNA ligase is used to ligate DNA fragments with vector. The resulting molecules produced are known as recombinant. The recombinant DNA molecules will then be inserted into the host bacteria. They will replicate their genome along with the vector genome and will produce clones of the original genome. This collection of clones, which contain all the sequences found in the original source, including the sequence of interest, forms the genomic library. From this library, DNA can be isolated and used for further study. Now, in this slide, I will be discussing about construction of a genomic library using lambda-phage as a vector. Genomic DNA extracted from a cell type that contain all the genetic information of the organisms under study, like sperm cells or the cells of an early embryo, can be taken into consideration. From which the human DNA, which is of 3 × 10⁹ base pair, can be isolated and it will be partially digested with restriction enzyme like South3A into 20 kilobase pair fragments with sticky ends complementary to the sticky end of the lambda vector. Similarly, bacteriophage lambda DNA, which is of 49 kilobase pair, is taken as a vector and it can be digested with a sticky end generator restriction endonuclease BAMH1 to remove the replaceable region into which the DNA of interest will be inserted. Now the human DNA fragments and the lambda arm will be mixed in approximately equal amounts, and when their complementary sticky ends will hybridize, then they will be covalently sealed with DNA ligase. After that, the DNA containing the foreign DNA fragments in it will then be packaged with the help of in vitro phage packaging system within bacteriophage. Only the DNA molecule of correct size can be packaged to produce a fully infectious recombinant lambda genome. A particularly 20 kilobase pair region of the human genome would occur approximately 1 in every 1.5 × 10⁵ recombinant lambda variants. However, about 10⁶ recombinant phages are required to assure the fragments encompassing the human genome having a chance of 90 to 95% of being included in the library. Finally, the recombinant lambda variant will be plated on a lawn of E. coli cell to generate a large number of recombinant lambda plaques. Since each plaque arises from a single recombinant variant, all the progeny lambda phages that develop are genetically identical and constitute a clone carrying particular DNA of interest. The different plaques correspond to distinct phage clone, each carrying a different DNA insert and constitute a lambda genomic library. Once the genomic library has been created, we need to screen a genomic library. There are several techniques which are used to screen the genomic library. Specifically, one of the most common library screening technique is colony hybridization. Other techniques include plaque hybridization. Other than that, there are other techniques like expression screening or direct selection of recombinants, insertional selection inactivation method, and blue-white selection methods. Lastly, use or application of genomic library. There are several applications of genomic library. For example, researchers can explore the genome of an organism to learn more about the genomic structure and function by using the genomic library. It can be used to map the genome and to identify the location of specific genes. Genomic library helps to develop tests which can be used to locate genetic variations including mutation. It is useful in recombinant DNA technology and helps to genetically modify organisms and produce clones of desired types. Genomic library construction is the first step in any DNA sequencing projects. It also helps in identification of the novel pharmaceutically important genes. Thank you. If you like my video, do like and subscribe.